It's one of my special interests is movies. I'm a collector of movies. I watch a lot of film. I learn what actors play. No rule. No, bad rule. Bad. So like, oftentimes special interest can consume an autistic person's life in a lot of ways.
Well, like with me, the whole reason Hal and I met was my special interest was Harry Potter. And I know a lot of people love Harry Potter.
But you don't understand.
But for one thing, I would read the books until they literally fell apart. I had a very supportive dad who would take me to all the midnight releases and everything. But what happened was I would get all the theory books, all the fan theories. I took a Harry Potter English class at LSU. It was amazing, by the way.
Oh, that had to be fun.
It was really great. It was a lot of fun. And then when the very last movie came out, I wasn't ready to give up that special interest yet. So I started a Harry Potter student organization at LSU, and that's how Hal and I met.
I met her because I went to pay my dues for the Harry Potter Club after Quidditch practice once.
That's what happens when you pay your dues. So.
You fall in love.
Wow.
Yeah.
How romantic.
But I mean,
I expected her
it's
Patronum.
intense. Nope. Stop that.
Oh my gosh.
Nope.
So it begins. There's so many Harry Potterisms. I love it. And many people are huge fans, but this is fun.
Yeah, it was just a social existence.
I have a question
Okay.
for you. Does that lead into or have anything to do with what savantism is? And can you tell us what that is?
You can be lucky enough that your savant area, so to speak, is linked with your special interest, but it doesn't always have to be. Special interests can change over time. Whereas your savant area is usually pretty concrete, and you can teach yourself to be really good at one thing or the other. But yeah, I would say there's usually some overlap because if you're really good at something, you're usually a little bit more interested in it naturally. But it doesn't always have to be that way because savantism, while there are autistic savants, it's not as common as having a special interest. Having a special interest is way more common.
It's not like we're all Rain Man.
And that's more of a Rain Man.
That's what you think of when you think of Rain Man. It's just like having that hyper specialized talent.
A good example of a hyper specialized special interest, okay, it would be Stephen Colbert being obsessed with Lord of the Rings the way he is.
Yeah.
Like if you've never watched Stephen Colbert talk about Lord of the Rings, one time actually when he was on, he got to go to the set of one of the Lord of the Rings films or one of the Hobbit films and actually had a talk with the guy who was the lore in residence guy, who's like the guy that you refer to for getting all of your lore correct. And they had a trivia contest, and Stephen Colbert won. Like, that's how intense he loves it. And it's like, that would be the level of like a lot of your special interests.
Yeah, you become an expert in that area. So if say yeah, if like one day my special interest changed to cooking, you could see that I would cook all day, every day. I would be constantly finding recipes, and I would just throw everything into it. My whole life would revolve around cooking. I would...
Well,
Go ahead.
Liz, we have a question from the chat, but I just want to follow up with you real quick to that. Is that actually OCD?
No.
Is that part of it?
Because OCD is a compulsion. OCD would be a closer analogy to our rituals and our routines than it would to our special interests. Because our special interests, OCD doesn't usually make you happy. It's just something.
It just pisses you off.
Yeah, it's just something you do to like to be able to survive. Like you have to do it, but you don't necessarily take any pleasure from it. But special interests make you happy.
I see.
It's your escape. It's a way of coping with the world, and it's something that makes you really happy.
That's an interesting distinction.
But go ahead.
That was great distinction there, though. You finished Brother Has Autism, Blubs. He's was on our team before. He doesn't have a PS4 now, but what a great gamer, and his special interest was video games. But we do have a question from Primal. Does autism affect or help you with video games?
I think a lot of that has to do with if it's your special interest.
Because I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, a lot of it, because autism, a lot of times people with autism have poor motor skills. Sometimes they have, it depends on, it's a whole world of differences. Like if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. Like a lot of times different things can affect how people affect games. Like some games Elizabeth can't play because of the coordination, as well as the fact that they're overstimulating. Like there's just either too flashy or the music's
like Black
too
Ops?
Yeah.
I cannot play Super Smash Brothers because it's just so fast paced. It melts my brain, and all the sounds and the flashing lights and the explosions. It's like my brain vomits at the thought, and I'll just after 15 minutes my brain will just be shut down, and I'm just like, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
It's just extremely overstimulating.
And I can do repetitive video games. Like right now I'm stuck on Stardew Valley. And it's just, you do the same thing with different variations every day in the game. And there's no super urgent combat. I don't have to move the camera around to see everything. It's just very...
You might like Minecraft.
Right, I might. But yeah, it's very neutral. It's more relaxing to me. So,
okay, Liz, that really leads me into the next part that I would like you to speak to, which you said so eloquently in our pre-setup for all this, and that is sensory. How does autism affect your senses?
So
that was an evil laugh.
It's more of a you don't even know, girl.
Yeah. For me personally, my sensory issues are sound and smell. So there's only one perfume I can wear because otherwise it just overstimulates me, and that's all I can really focus on, and it's a negative feeling. For sound, all these noises and the background music and all that just kind of slowly driving me crazy. Just because personally I like much more quiet, okay sounds. I usually have music or whatever as low as it can possibly go without being off. And
what are some of Hal's sensory things? What are some of Hal's sensory things? And do you guys have an issue with them between the two?
You got me thinking about it now. Okay, I cannot stand the way if you were to take coins and rub them together, if I can feel it and I can hear it and I just want to vomit.
yeah.
It's, oh my.
Nails on a
that doesn't
chalkboard?
bother me. My first day
That's interesting.
Turn the bottom row back to low, but turn the number ones.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, quick story. This is actually my first day of substitute teaching after I graduated college. I was in charge of a 6th grade class, and this student asked me for a pair of scissors. So like a good normal person, you don't hand them to the kids' blades first. So I'm holding the scissors in my hand, and I felt the edge of the metal, like the corners of it, rubbed my skin and my hand, and I almost vomited on a child. Like I dry
You
heaved.
vomit a lot, and you don't vomit very often.
It was just, ooh.
That's interesting.
What else bothers me?
So the two of you, like, does it affect your relationship at all?
Well, I don't have a sense of smell, so it doesn't really bother me that much for her smells. It has to be something really, really potent for me to smell, and I really like her perfume. So, it smells very alluring.
I'm sure.
What do you wear,
I wear
Liz?
Flower Bomb by Victor and Rolf. It's the bottle's in the shape of a grenade, like a pink grenade, and it's really nice.
Wow, that sounds exciting.
It's nice.
I'm gonna have to look that up. You want to put that in the chat? Maybe somebody else would like to buy that. I think it'll be time for a giveaway soon. I think what we'll do is we'll give away the $10 PSN code soon. I'll come up with something. So I'm sorry. Did you want to tell us a little bit more about sensory or?
Oh, textures. I can't eat vegetables.
Yeah.
It's some of it's the flavor, but a lot of it's the texture of them. Like, oh gosh. Like if I bite into a chunky onion, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
No more eating for Hal.
And it's not even something where you can talk yourself into it. Oh well, it's good for you, so just suck it up and eat it. Like,
nope. It's
it
like
will make us physically ill. There's something else.
I can't wear those polo shirts that are like thick stitch.
Oh yeah,
can't wear
fabrics.
those.
Certain fabrics are really
Bad.
autism
news,
unfriendly, which can be a problem.
And I guess that leads me, Liz. Can you help this or change it?
Okay.
Or is it just that you have an awareness?
Yeah. Well, you definitely have an awareness about it, and I think that helps because maybe you can't really fix it. You're always gonna have sensitivities, but you can accommodate for them. So you can learn what triggers you, what you don't like, what you like the absolute least, and what you can tolerate for certain amounts of time. And then you can find ways to replace the bad things with the good. Like with those terrible polo shirts, he could wear a different type of shirt or polo shirt as long as it's not the same material. So while you can't really fix it, you can kind of get used to it to a certain extent, and then you can just accommodate for it. So it really depends on the severity of the sensitivity, but I don't think you can ever really get rid of it forever.
And some people even say things like, "Oh, well, I don't like the way that feels too," but it's like, no. Imagine that times like 10.
Yeah, it's intolerable. But yeah, there are things you can do to kind of temper it and make it a little bit easier to deal with, but it all really just depends on the person and the severity of the sensitivities.
I see. So, let's move from this on to what can happen to you guys when you are either like overstimulated or reach a level that is hard to bear. How do you cope with that socially and
it's different.
And that's a real thing,
it's
isn't it?
different for females versus males. So females are more likely to shut down. So for me, I just kind of curl into a ball. I don't want to talk to anyone. I may not be able to speak. I may go nonverbal. That's happened a few times. If you're in a social situation, for me, and like I can't just have my shut down and decompress, I will resort to stimming, which I'm sure we'll get into later. And that'll help get me through until I can get to a private area and go ahead and shut down. And the shutdown it's really hard to describe unless you've had it. But basically, it's like you go internal, and I don't always remember